Hi, today we'll be learning to make these bubble and triangular bookmarks in very easy way. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm taking a 300 GSM Canson paper. You can take any watercolor sheet that you have. I am making the markings of different watercolor bookmarks that I'm going to make out of these. Some are 1 inches, some are 1.5, some are 2 inches. So quickly cut them out and keep it ready. I'm going to take 2 of these for today's tutorial, and I'm going to use some washi tape to tape it down to my base. You could even use masking tape if you want to. I personally like washi tapes. It is a bit hard to use them if you're going to use multiple layering, but for today's purpose it's absolutely perfect. So I'm using these Pastel Dreams palette from Art Philosophy. I think they are brilliant. So the first step is to take some yellow, and we're going to paint directly onto our sheet in shapes of circles. So you could have your yellow in a very light way. Don't have to add too much of water. You can have either a dark yellow or a light yellow depending on your preference, but you don't need to add too much water. The idea is to make sure that these dry out a little faster. So I'm also keeping 2 bookmarks right next to each other because sometimes it takes time to dry, which is why while the first one dries, I'm creating triangle shapes in the second one. Again, with this you can draw out these triangles using your pencil and then paint into them. The only difficulty you might face is once it completely dries out, the pencil marks could be seen through it. You could use a kneaded eraser to erase it off, but sometimes it's hard, it doesn't look really nice. So whatever works best for you, you can do that. So these triangles that I'm creating them in various angles. So it looks like there are pieces of triangle which are scattered around. This palette has very beautiful sea greens. So the next color that I've chosen for my bubbles is a nice sea green, which I'm going to be using for creating the circles. I'm overlapping one on top of another, but I'm not going too much over it because the bottom layer will get activated. So just be careful about that. If you want to show just a small tiny glimpse of the color seen through, then don't rub it over the same place over and over again. Also make sure that your bottom layer has completely dried out before you add the top layer, otherwise the 2 colors will merge and it will start spreading. Now we're getting some more of this color to create the triangles on the second one while my first bookmark dries. I always find it easier to do this way, so I don't waste a lot of time in creating my paintings. Overlapping them will give you a third color, so I like the transparency and this mixture that happens by layering it. If you want to, you can completely avoid layering and just add your triangles and your circles or your bubbles in the way that you like without overlapping them and just spreading it all around the place. We'll take now a nice sky blue. So blue, when it overlaps your yellow, it's going to create a green. So be careful about this. It will activate the yellow at the bottom sometimes, and it will end up creating the green all over your blue also. So just be careful about that. So don't run your brush over the base layer too many times. I'm now creating a few triangles in different directions in the second one. You can premix your colors and keep them ready also. I just go by a lot of instinct. If you've seen my earlier videos, you would know that I do this a lot. But if you're a beginner, then I would definitely recommend that you mix a few colors of enough quantity so that you don't run out of it and you don't waste your time in just creating the colors, because you might lose out on the momentum. We'll now take a nice peach pink and create our next layer of bubbles. Sticking to a good color palette is very important. It's not necessary that you need to have the same palette that I'm using today. You can create your own color palette from whichever brand of paint that you're using. The idea is to make sure that all the colors go well with each other. It looks like it's all from the same family. Otherwise, the colors would be fighting for their presence on the sheet, and that would kind of not look very nice to the eyes. So you can take a small sheet of paper first, create swatches of the colors that you want to use, look how they look together, see it, and then decide if you want to change a few things in that and mix your colors accordingly and keep it. I'm adding some more of these triangles, and I think I'm quite happy with this pink, which is creating a very nice contrast in the entire thing. I'm now going to take a purple and create some bubbles with that. So we are basically building up. If it's a little translucent, you can see all the layers, like you can see yellow over there, you can see the blue, and where the blue and the yellow meet you can see a green, and where the purple, blue, green, yellow meet you can see one more color. So it's very interesting how watercolor gives you this very nice effect. Make sure that your paints are watered down to this level. If they are too thick, then you will not be able to get this effect. Again, the idea is to make sure that the bottom layer has dried before you add on to your next layer. I'm adding a few more purple because there's a lot of white space that I can see, and I think this adds a very nice effect to this entire bookmark. And that is it. I am going to now remove the tape and see how this entire thing looks. You can wait for a moment for it to completely dry out before you start removing your tape. That way, if there are any loose ends and if there is any bubble of paint or water on your tape, it would not affect your bookmark. I love the smooth edges that I get with washi tapes. I love how the bubble bookmark is looking. And now time to see how the triangle bookmark looks. Do try this out. You can tag me on Instagram. I have left the handle in the description. I would love to see what you're creating. Thank you so much for joining me today.